Good evening, everybody. I forgot to tell everybody I was going live today. So it's kind of an impromptu. So, excuse me. Let's see here. Yeah, I didn't do this right. Oh well. I'll give it a moment or two. Um, Good evening, whoever just joined me. I'm going to wait a few more moments before I get into this. Um, like I said, I forgot to tell everybody I was going live. That's my fault. I usually give everybody a heads up, but today I forgot. So, excuse me while I adjust my glasses so I don't have to do this every time I want to read something or look at something. Um, hey Sheila, nice to see you. Um, give it a moment, Sheila, and I'm gonna start getting to into the deal. Today was the day that Diane and I started. Well, we cleaned up a little bit in the living room so we can start setting up the Christmas decor. We want to try to get as much of the living room done as possible tonight. So tomorrow we just have to deal with the tree. And Jay wanted to do it before um, Lisa and her grandkids get back. How's my foot? Well, I found out that my foot is not broken. There's no issues. It's just it hurts. And I don't know if that's because of the amount of time I spend standing on it. Because when I started out this morning, it wasn't bugging me, and here we are near 6:30, and my foot is in some pain. My back is not. My back is not giving me problems. It's mostly my foot. Um, so I don't know what the deal is. I am actually waiting until. Well, I'm gonna wait until Monday, and I'm gonna try to see if the doctor put anything in my portal to indicate if he wants a follow up right away or what he wants done. I'm also here. I'm also waiting for an oncologist from the Mercy, or not an oncologist, excuse me, a cardiologist from the Mercy group that's supposed to be, my doctor's supposed to be getting in contact with him so he can arrange a, I don't know what, whether it's going to be a heart stress test or a pulmonary stress test or whatever it is. All I know is the doctors want to call it a stress test, and it's I know it's for my physical body, not my psychological well being. So I know the difference, and because either because I spoke out of turn or somebody misunderstood me, they did not understand what I meant by a stress test. Because I was talking about the stress test that I had in New York when they found out about my extremely high cholesterol level, and they put me through a New York style. Well, not a New York style, but they put me through it. Their stress test were, go over to the local diner, eat the fattiest, greasiest food you can think of for breakfast, and come back, wait in the waiting room, and then we'll put you on a treadmill and hook you up to all these wires and monitors and this breathing apparatus, and And the funny thing about that test was that's how I consider that stress relief to me. So it's not really stressing me out or causing my cardio or anything like that to beat at a norm. Um, and the joke was I told the doctor, you want a stress test, don't have me walk on a treadmill. Have me drive you through New York traffic, and then you'll see me my cardio and whatnot stress out, because yeah, my heart will start beating rapidly, and who knows what my breathing will do. You know, but I know the difference between a cardio stress test and just a let's see how your nerves can handle this, or something like that. And personally, from my knowledge and my knowing of my own body, everything's interconnected. So yeah, you know, I'm doing fine, Mama Deb. I was just talking about an issue that came up on one of my discussions about my cardio stress test, and because I just called it a stress test, and I gave them a story from New York, they all thought I meant like psychological stress. And no, I know my body well enough that I know my psychological standpoint and my physiological standpoint kind of are interconnected. So if I am mentally stressed, my physical body becomes stressed. And the way they did their stress test in New York for cardiovascular is to have me eat the fattiest, greasiest breakfast possible and come back over, set me on a treadmill, hook me up with all kinds of EKG wires and wires that monitor my blood, my heart, and whatnot, plus my mind. And the only thing stressful about that test was the nurse behind me trying to tell me how to breathe. I think the natural body knows how to breathe. I don't need somebody standing behind me going, breathe. My hubby's going through the same thing. He has an appointment this week. Good luck to him. I hope everything comes out good. I'm just waiting for a call back, or the doctor sending me a message through the portal saying, "Hey, got you an appointment with a cardiovascular doctor." Okay. But the thing about the way they gave me a stress test in New York, by putting me on a treadmill, and making the treadmill go on a slow incline with a steady pace, a steadily increasing pace. That's not the way to stress my heart. That's how you calm everything down and get my heart to work the way it should be. Um, if you're going to do outside decorating, you may want to do it as soon as. I've already got the outside decorations done, pretty much. I mean, there was one decoration I want to go out and buy, but I have not gone out to buy it yet. So that might be something I'll look at when the post Christmas sales happen. Even though Lowe's is starting up their own post Christmas sales already because of one thing or another. Yeah, this whole week is supposed to be cold and nasty. Let's see here. My husband are already on blood pressure. I don't know. I don't think I'm on blood pressure medication. I know I'm on medication for my extremely high cholesterol level, but I don't think I'm my heart. I don't think I have blood pressure issues yet. Well, dogs will do that for us. I mean, if you don't properly train them, they'll just go wherever they want to. Um, let's see. But anyhow, Jerry Ann and I spent the bulk of the morning cleaning up, prepping the living room, and started pulling out Christmas decor to put around the living room. She wants to get as much as the living room done as possible before Sunday night. And I told Jerry we have all Sunday morning if we get up at a relatively early hour and start work on it. And that way, maybe, hopefully, I'll have a good hour, 35, an hour to 30 minutes to sit down, relax, recoup my energy before I have to go to work. Um, Although I do blame his high stress job. For over 6 months, he's been working 18 hours a day. Wow, 18 hours a day? I didn't think they can do that unless it's military. So I don't know. Yeah, 18 hours a day is just way too much, especially if it's 18 hours for 5 days straight. The only thing I can say about that, besides how bad the stress would be, is you can look at it as in like money in the bank. Because if he's got a really good job that pays him really good for his work, um, yeah, it's kind of like one of those mentally, physically weighed out. I mean, I literally, I've told people in the past, before I go to do job changes, I weigh out the good and the bad. I literally, you know, make two columns, the plus and the minus, and I compare the job I'm trying to get to, compare it to the job that I'm leaving, and I'm like, okay, yes, if I leave the college and get hired at my new job, one, it's less hours, but it's more income. So that's a plus. The minus side was staying at college, dealing with people who stressed me out, and one thing or another that I just could not handle anymore, and I was getting to the point where it's like something's got to give. Um, but yeah, 18 hours is just way too much money. I mean, way too many hours. Um, yeah, but he's salary, so no, he does. Oh, he's got one of them jobs because he's a specialist that's on a salary base. It's not hourly base. Well, then, yeah, 18 hours is not worth, you know, putting yourself in the hospital for. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, unless I'm getting good money, 18 hours as a tech manager, if I'm not getting at least 5 digits or more, it ain't worth, 18 hours a day. No, no, I'm not gonna kill myself for that crazy stuff. I hope that's something my wife was listening to on. I just heard a rooster and I'm like, what? No, no, not in this. I hope not in this neighborhood. Besides, this time of day they're probably asleep. But so Jerry Ann wants to try to get the living room decorated tonight, and then just put the tree up as the last thing, and then finish doing the tree tomorrow. I am very happy with my deli job. I mean, I have not found anything extremely problematic. I mean, um, Lisa and the kids are supposed to be back tomorrow night sometime. I'll be at work, most likely. Um, hey, Margaret, glad to see you. I mean, one, deli work, from New York, deli work out here is like a cakewalk. Even though I try not to get my head so filled and bloated because it's like I can do anything in the deli. The problem is it's a deli. It it's got only one or two problems. One is some of the equipment needs to be replaced because it's old, and two, it's like up until last weekend, it had looked like nobody had cleaned certain areas in a very long time. And one of the areas that got neglected the most, because most likely because people were like, oh, we don't do anything food wise. No, we make sandwiches back there. But in the area that I try to do the most because it's gentler on my back and my feet, which is the dish, doing all the dishes and cleaning up and that kind of stuff. Cleaning our cooking components and our trays and our food storage but uh, between either somebody who has extremely dirty hands, constantly touching the doors for the coolers. There was the area where we keep our chemicals. We have two chemical stands. One is the chemicals to clean the floor and the degreaser, and then there's a sanitizer, an area that has sanitizer and dish soap, basically, and big giant bags worth, basically. And it looked like people were neglecting to clean around certain areas, so I just kind of went, you know what, I'll take care of that. And it didn't take me very long to take care of it because I knew exactly what kind of chemicals to use and how to clean everything without, basically working smarter, not harder type deal. Because I've done that. The difference between, well, actually, there's not very much difference except for um, delis here in Missouri get mostly plain cold cuts, Sara Lee, um, there's a couple of Prima Della, but I'm like New York has Boar's Head. The other thing is most of the kids out here, I'm gonna say kids because most of the people I work with are younger than I am. Is most of the kids in New York were like, I have to do my job and I have to do it to the best of my ability because in New York, workers are dime a dozen. So if a worker displeases the company and whatnot, the company can easily fire them. The only good thing is New York has a union for food service personnel. We don't have that here in Missouri. That and the work ethics here in Missouri with some of these younger kids are just it's going downhill basically. That and the fact that and New York delis have kosher. They have a separate set of slicers off to the side that are for kosher foods only. If you don't know what kosher food is, just let me know and I'll try to explain it to you. That and grocery store delis like I'm working in now, um, they're fairly simple, even in New York. Um, the only difference is we had a higher um, not a higher turnover rate, but more of we have more people, more customers to deal with per day, let alone per hour, compared to here in Rolla. Um, so it's kind of like one of those combination of the size of the deli, the people who are actually working, the people who are just sitting around looking like they're trying to work but they're not. Um, it's a combination of work ethic and realizing, hey, if I don't do my job right, that can get replaced easily. That was New York. Here in Missouri, it's more like getting a replacement for a worker that either quit or got fired is not as easy here as it would be in New York. That in fact, I don't know what it is. It's everybody says it's got to be the water. If you are from New York, any part of New York, you probably would agree with me that the water that they use in New York makes the food have a better flavor compared to here in Missouri. I mean, that in fact, I don't know of any places here in New York that makes their own fresh bagels. And what few bagels I've seen out here in some of the non-grocery like mom and pops type stores, they look good, but they don't have that bold that they're not as soft as they are in New York unless you put them through a toaster. These are like bagels that were made the day before and let sit out and get a little hard. Um, which don't get me wrong, in New York, the outside of the bagel is hard, but the inside is like perfect softness that it doesn't hurt your gums or your teeth. And you can put just if you wanted to make a sandwich out of a bagel, um, there's a lot of different ways to do that. That and the hoagie rolls and the um not croissant Kaiser rolls, the different rolls that they use out there. A lot of times when they make you a sandwich at a deli, they'll ask you, do you want it hollowed or do you want it just everything on top of the breading? And a lot of people will say hollowed out, and what they'll do is they'll just like take the inside of the bread, they'll set it off to the side, make your sandwich, which fills in the hollow, and then you put the other piece of bread on there, and it might look small at first because the fact that everything's up in the hollow, um, but man, does it taste great! And they usually ask you, do you want the hollowed out bread, the soft part of the bread, separate, or do you not want it all? You want us to just pitch it? Because sometimes that bread, that inner bread, is great to dip into sauce and whatnot. Does your deli have salads? Yes, we have salads. We do not make them fresh. They come in pre-made, so they're in packaging. They're pre-made packages that we just we don't like. We have a hot bar section, which is hot foods, but we don't have a cold bar section. So if you wanted like a salad or something like that, you'd have to take it from the one of the display cases in the middle of the floor by the deli. But I do meats and cheeses, rotisserie chicken, and then we've got like a hot bar with buffalo wings, ranch wings, and then we have boneless wings, barbecue or General Tso's. Then we have sides like mashed potatoes, corn, um, beans, things like that. Becky, yes, I just started. Actually, just started 21 minutes ago. So you kind of came in at the right time. um, let's see here. Jim, it's been said that kosher is salt versus sea salt is better for flavor as for cooking. Um, well, that statement is true in the fact that sea salt is actually better for you than regular iodine salt. There is a kosher salt, but when it comes to kosher foods, it's not the salt. It's how the foods are put together, what they're made with. Like the Jewish community of New York, no pork, so they have chicken, they have smoked chicken, or not chicken, turkey. Then they have uh, beef salami or beef bologna. And to make it actually kosher by the Jewish community, the foods not only have to be made a certain way, there cannot be any pork product whatsoever, and it has to be blessed by a rabbi. That's what part of kosher foods are. Hey, kicking! It almost snowed here, by the way, folks. I was outside getting into our shed to get the Christmas decor inside, and I looked up during a blast of wind, and I'm like, those are white flakes coming down. Those are actual snowflakes coming down out of the sky. Um, so I was like, oh yes, we might get snow. Then it stopped, and it got sunny, and I went, it is 29 degrees out here. I am warm enough to do what I have to do, but if it's going to be this cold, don't just give me a couple flakes. I mean, give me a enough to cover my grass. Um, you're welcome, Morgan. I mean, unless you've either lived near a Jewish community or had to work with Jewish type delis or something like that, a lot of people think, oh yeah, kosher, that's just the salt. No, it's actually a whole food type for the Jewish people or for anybody who doesn't eat pork. I mean, I know a lot of people who are not Jewish. They're from the Middle East and they don't eat pork. Um, as the Jewish community, the Muslim community, some parts of India, they don't eat pork. Um, so there's a lot of different places that just don't eat pork because it's to them it's it's not good. To them, it's unholy because, well, for the Christian community, we all read the Bible where Christ pulled the demons out of a couple strangers and put them into pigs. And so a lot of people take that into account and go, oh, then we can't eat pork. Okay. 17 here, yeah. I think our high got to about 34, 35, but that's not including wind chill fact. The wind chill part dropped it down probably about 8 to 9 degrees difference. So might have felt it might have seemed like 42, but it might have been somewhere like 23, 24. Um, I don't even know how low it's going to get yet for tonight. I just know that the week ahead is going to be wintry mix or a wintry feel, and I'm hoping by Christmas time we get a little bit of snow. I was actually hoping that sometime during the week while Elisa's grandkids were here, since they were born and raised in Texas, that it would snow and they would get to play in it for a little bit. I just don't know how much clothing they might have to put on to keep warm because of the Texas atmosphere. Glad you caught my life too, Katie Driver. Um, but it's one of those things to be like, you know, how are these boys going to react when they get up here and it's like, it's cold outside, but it's only 38. It hasn't even got down into the single digits yet. Come back in January when it's hitting like high of 7 and a low of -5, or lower. There's been one or two times where I woke up and in the middle of the night it got down to almost minus 15 to 20, and the high was only like -2. It's like -2 is a high. That's crazy talk. But yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what happens when they get up here. Nope, you're not too late. I've been on for less than half an hour. Um, Jerry is well. No, it's not Jerry's not feeling well. It's just Jay is trying to do a bunch of other stuff while I'm doing this. So, um, but I am. Sorry, hold on. The only thing wrong with Jerry right now, besides her back, because of those wounds, got worse while she was in Vegas, which kind of makes me worried. Um, but she and I are both suffering from, her both of her feet are swollen. I think she's still recovering from her trip, but I think they got swollen because of salt intake recently. Um, but otherwise, both of us are suffering from the seasonal aches and pains because of the cold weather. I'm having issues with my arches. Um, so I have supportive. I don't know how to call them, but they're basically the arch. They're actually designed to help the foot if the foot, if you have any problems. But they have special inserts for your arches because of I've got bad arches. Um, but otherwise, we're pretty healthy. We're trying to keep things going. Excuse me for a second. I'm sorry. Mm. My One of my other issues I have this time of year is postnasal drip from allergens. Um, if I could, I would have. try to get rid of all the leaves that are in my yard when they sent the city of Raleigh sent out a basically a what they call their annual street sweep. So basically, if you have any leaves, you try to blow them out onto the street, and the sweeper comes along and sucks it all up. But one, I didn't get that notification for some reason, and two, um, I just didn't have the time to do it. Either I wasn't feeling good while Jerry was gone, or I kept myself busy and forgot about simple things like, hey, it's a nice day. Why don't you go outside and hook up the leaf blower and blow the leaves towards the away from the house towards the street so the sweeper can get it. Oops, you know. And I'm pretty sure if I got that notice, I would have tried to do it before the notice. Jerry is currently in the living room trying to deal with some decor on her own, as well as finish up a project that she was working on. Let's see. She actually did a one video she did recently was the trip, and then the other one was just her being home and explaining what happened. Uh, well, she's not so bad that she needs to go to the ER. She has four, I think it's 4 to 5 doctor's appointment in the next 2 weeks. In other words, she's got two or three of them. I know of two of them this coming week. I know one towards the latter half or the middle of next week, and then she's got a couple of them spread out, and she's got an appointment with some. I forgot who. I don't know who the appointments are without opening up my phone and looking at the calendar. But she has. I know she has an appointment with her ear, nose, throat doctor, or the doctor that basically she biopsied one of the spots on her arm, and that's how we found out it was all the issues that she was having was because of either the chemo or the booster. So that's the first time they stopped doing chemo and the immune booster for a while, and then she went back onto the chemo, and the back was starting to give her problems, and the skin doctor or ear nose throat doctor or whatever she was is suggested getting off the chemo for another month basically to see what happens. I mean, when she went off, when Jerry went off the chemo the first time, a lot of positive things started happening, and then right about the time she went back on the chemo, her spine doctor told her she doesn't need the brace no more because it looks like the backbone is recalcifying. There's no signs of growth or any issues with the areas that they were having problems with. As long as Jerry has had those wounds on her back, I wish they would send her to a wound care specialist. Um, she's trying to get back to the wound care specialist. She's trying because things haven't healed totally on her back. She's hoping that she can get the insurance to authorize at least a wound specialist to come in 2 3 times a week to check everything out, make sure it looks good to them. And I can only do so much and take pictures for her so she can send it to her. I can't remember his title now, but he's the one who's basically quarterbacking everything. He's a guy who's basically saying, okay, yeah, we see that this is going on. We need to have it checked. Okay, this is what your spinal doctor said. This is what your knee doctor said. This is what your surgeon said. This is basically he's the guy that all the information goes to. And then when Jerry goes to see him, like every other month or so, you know, he's the one who basically goes, okay, Mrs. Henson, this is what I know, and this is what they've all suggested, and I think, yeah, let's go ahead and take you off the chemo for another 30 days and see what happens. And we can't really, the way it sounds, and I'm not 100% sure because I'm not into the medical jargon. Some of the medical jargon, I kind of go, you want to countrify that because you make no sense right now. But he's a guy who we go to the most because he's the one that everybody communicates with and sends information to. Probably her primary oncologist. Yeah, I think he is her primary oncologist because I know she has a primary, she has an oncologist, she has a spinal doctor, she has a surgical doctor, she has a skin doctor, a nose, ear, throat doctor. I mean, she's got more doctors than I've ever counted, and medical personnel that I've ever had to deal with throughout my life. I mean, when you're in the military, you have a doctor, and your paperwork goes, around everywhere you go. Your paperwork goes. Mom is actually doing pretty good. She is well today. She had to go and do a grocery pickup, um, which is kind of good for her because then she doesn't have to worry about lifting anything heavy. Because the person who brings the groceries out puts it into the back of in her vehicle, and when she comes home, if there is anything heavy, she either leaves it in her car, or when she comes home and I'm home, goes, "Hey Jimmy, can you know, I got a couple of big heavy bags. Can you go out there and get them for me?" And of course I oblige. Of course I'm gonna go do it. That how how good of a son would I be if I did not go out and help my mom bring in groceries? You know, it's kind of like a son's duty, just like it is a husband's duty to take care of the parents or the spouse. You know, I be honest with you, I throw on a lot of hats around this house between son, husband, cook, cleaner, caretaker. You know, I think that's just part of what a husband and a son should do. Is if your mom is living with you and your spouse is living with you and everybody's okay, all you have to do is just maintain the peace, feed everybody, do whatever you have to do or can do or need to do to take care of everybody, and that's exactly what I do. You know, I mean, I can be the stereotypical prick and sit there watching my ball game or TV or whatnot, telling everybody else what to do, and just you know, I work for a living. You all should be doing all this stuff, not me. No. Yes, I have a part time job right now, so it makes it a little bit easier to maintain things around here. But there are days where it's just like, oh my goodness, I don't feel like doing it, but I have to do it because it needs to be done. And that's when you have to sit there and prioritize, what's important and what can wait. It's one of the things my therapist has taught me is look at all the things that need to be done and tackle the important stuff first, and then worry about all the little stuff in between. So basically, the important things for me to deal with around here on a daily basis is my laundry done? Okay, if it's done, don't have to worry about that until it needs to be done. Is everybody fed? Has everybody had breakfast or lunch or whatever meal we're gonna have together? Yes. Okay, that's out of the way. Is mom okay? Yes, mom's okay. Mom's happy. Okay, that's out of the way. Jerry, is Jerry happy? Everything done with Jerry? Jerry's, her wound care has been done. Yes, okay, all the important stuff is done. All right, what non-important stuff can I tackle? You know, before the end of the day or in between things. Let's see here. Okay, that's for somebody else. Is the okay ointment actually the herbal ingredients that Bodhi sent us or gave to us is actually a mouthwash to help her with her mouth. So basically, she has to take the herbs um, and let them sit in water, like making a tea. And she can, strain out the herbs if we don't have a little tea bowl, which I think I do somewhere. Um, the thing is getting Jared to drink it because might smell okay, but it seems by Jerry's facial expressions, it's a combination of bitter and painful. Of course, you got to go through a little bit of pain to heal properly. So I don't know. Why doesn't Lisa help with the cooking and cleaning? Um, Probably because factor one, I've never asked her to. I'm pig-headed. I like to do it myself. Um, that and Lisa herself has a limitation due to her hip deterioration. At least that's what I'm hearing. But she does have a hip problem due to other medical problems. I don't know. I don't know what the full extension is. I just know that she does do what she can around here to help, um, which is nice. Um, so it's not that Lisa is not helping. It's more along the lines of Jim's not asking for help. Jim is literally, and yeah, I'm talking about myself in the third party. I am a stubborn old goat. I was born and raised with this whole mentality of if you can't do it yourself, don't ask anybody else to do it unless you don't care how it's done because it's one of those. If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Unless whoever is doing it for you is on the same wavelength or understanding of what needs to be done. That's one of the reasons why Jerry has learned that when we get a piece of furniture or something that we have to build ourselves, basically put together from the different components, like the IKEA furniture and stuff like that. Um, Jerry's learned it's best to let me get everything situated and started, and if I need help, I'll let her know, or she'll sit in there and ask me what I can do for what she can do for me, and I'm like, well, you can hand me that component, or you can hand me that part, or can you hold this in place while I screw it down, or I attach it the way it needs to be attached. She has no problem with doing that. She enjoys helping me out. Um, Granted, we haven't done that in a long time because of, well, yeah, she hasn't really been able to do that in a while um, because she can't stand up without bracing against something. We're actually hoping that I think it's next week she has an appointment in St. Louis, or it's right after the New Year. She's got an appointment in St. Louis with her spine doctor, um, and we're hoping that he gives her the full go ahead to start building up her stamina and not using her walker. And I tell you what, the day that he says that, I'll be like, okay, good. So I can take the walker. I can take the wheelchair has to go back to the rental company, but I can take the walker and I can take her rollator and put it up for sale or something. No one Jerry should be like, no, 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 put it in storage. Who knows when I'll ever need it again? Well, I can kind of understand that with the walker, but the rollator, no. Because I'm afraid if she starts using the rollator, again, she'll start losing her stamina and whatnot that she already has. Um, but no, yeah, Lisa has been helping when she can. Actually, I think she helped make Thanksgiving dinner because she was here for Thanksgiving. Because she had a corn casserole that she wanted to make for us, and it was really good. It was basically a can of whole kernel, a can of cream corn, um, a package of cornbread mixed together in into a casserole dish with, I forgot what was sprinkled on top. Was it cheese? I think it had cheese sprinkled on top. So it was good. I can say that much. It was really good. Um, it is. Well, we've been doing this for 45 minutes, and I enjoyed talking. I'm in 15 minutes when the hour mark hits is probably when I'm going to end this, so I can finish up the bulk of the decorations and only have to worry about tree in the morning. Which, let's say here, if I get up at a decent hour, like 9 o'clock in the morning, and don't have to worry about going to work until 3:30, we could probably get the living room decorated and the tree finished before I even head for work. So I don't know what we're gonna do after this. It really, I think it's a combination of. Granted, Jerry's been basically doing like, remember it used to go here and that was over there, and this was on the tree and this was around the tree and and I was and I'm like I don't remember how we had the house decorations done last year unless I looked at pictures. So I'm not like worried about how or where everything's going. I'm just like, okay, if I'm gonna be a workhorse, you gotta realize when I am done for the day, I am done for the day. We can finish it tomorrow morning. Um, but she gets this whole thing of like, yeah, but what if we wake up in the morning and we neither one of us feels like doing it? Well, if we both wake up that way, maybe both of us can give each other a hand to get it done. To because I that's the way I felt this morning. I was like, I don't really want to do Christmas decor. I just lately I have been like, I don't know if I want to call it depressed or seasonal. The seasonal adjustment disorder, sad or wherever however it's called. For me, it's like, okay, I can understand you want to get it done, but when my body is like, nope, you got no more energy. Your joints are hurting. You just feel like collapsing where you stand. Then that's when I know I have to stop, because what use am I going to be to anybody if I can't pick myself up and get a move on? I mean, it's literally like, yeah, you use it or you lose it, and I prefer to use it but not lose it. And I know if I overuse it, it will be lost. You know, that's the other thing that I worry about is if I overextend myself. If I push myself too far, am I going to wake up the next morning going, I can't even get up out of the bed, I might as well call out of work type situation, which I don't want. Um, I don't want to be like so broken that, you know, I can't do anything. Um, yeah, I'm calling my beer in front of you guys because it just feels like I needed it. Sorry. I do what I want to do, and I don't expect anybody to approve or disapprove. I just like, this is who I am. I am. Well, Jerry wants to do her live in the morning, which is fine by me. I can't wait. I kind of can't wait until I get the Christmas tree done now that I've started it. But I also kind of feel like for me, this is not for everybody, but this is for me. There's three things that are there's three different things that make Christmas to me not as festive or enjoyable as it used to be. And I think that's a combination of certain people who used to be around me aren't around me anymore, and they were the ones who really had that Christmas that drive to decorate for Christmas. Um, Jerry used to have it. Jerry still has it, but she's also kind of getting to that point where it's like I'm getting too old, but I need to do it just in case because who knows, this might be my last Christmas. You know, she's always understanding the dark side of the situation. But she also sees the silver lining. So I'm happy she's around because this year, especially for some reason, I probably would not have decorated. Um, but between the over pushing or over pre Christmas sales and hey, yeah, I know it's the day after Thanksgiving, but we're gonna start selling Christmas stuff and just the over commercialization of Christmas and shopping and all that stuff. It renders me like the reason the reasons behind Christmas is just getting lost. Um, and I feel sorry for everybody who I feel sorry for the people who are like fully invested in the Christian side of Christmas. I can understand their points and I can understand their side of the coin, but also with my knowledge of the Nordic pre-Christian pagan, you know, their Christmas basically the Yule log, the Yule cat, the different myths and legends and the lore of Norwegian or Nordic um, Christmas. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that's great and whatnot, but where do we like what's happened to me is more like it. And I don't think it's just because of my interest in the Norse people or their traditions and holidays, but it's also the all the knowledge that I have, the combination of the Christian knowledge and the different religions and I don't really look at it as Christmas like most people do. I look at it as in this is a holiday for family gatherings and gift exchanges and big lunches or not big lunches, big breakfasts, big dinners, um, just a lot of different things that I still enjoy about this time of year. It's the whole, I guess, is the whole hype with. Sorry, folks. Hey, John. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, Junk Journal. It looks like we have a little message from Diane. She had to re. She had to use somebody else's name, but she's talking about recovering and rebuilding. Um, why is everybody broke? Because we're. I don't know if you mean financially or physically. Every single person that lives in this house, my mother, my wife, myself, and Lisa. have medical issues of one form or another. Whether you want to believe it or not, Diane, you know, my mom is kind of a recluse. She's not a real big people person. It's not that she doesn't like anybody in this house. It's just she likes to have things her way. But she's up there in age and she's starting to show signs of dementia. Jerry Ann has stage 4 kidney cancer with um, type 2 diabetes. And well, that drags her down right there. I have a herniated lower lumbar disc. Plus, I'm starting to have other issues like fallen arches. My cholesterol level, luckily, is under control compared to what it was a decade ago, 12 years, actually 12 years ago, um, when we found out about it. That and I'm getting like it's getting cold. I'm having arthritic issues, joint problems, joint pains. I have a combination of my dad's side of the family's health issues and my mom's side of the family's health issues. Luckily, I'm not diabetic. I am pre-diabetic. I'm hyperglycemic, but I also have the mental problems that I have between attention deficit disorder with, thankfully, not as bad as when I was a kid, some hyperactivity issues. But my energy gets drained quickly because I've got multiple hats. I've got, you know, basically, I'm the one that's got the better health out of everybody. Used to have a lot of vim and vigor, but lately my vim and vigor has gone out the window, and I think that's a combination of depression from the seasonal adjustment disorder, which I'm not sure if I have or not, but that's what it seems like. I have the symptoms, and then Lisa's got a hip problem. You know, it's called being getting old and doing a lot of crazy stuff when you're younger. Simple as that. Diane, if you knew all the shit that I used to do as a kid, it's called, nature. Your body can only do so much and take so much abuse from your youth to your adulthood, and then you start dealing with it. We're all seeing doctors. Jerry's got a slew of doctors that she sees. I have my primary, I have a foot doctor, I have a therapist. Pretty soon I'll probably have a cardiologist that I'm probably going to see soon. But, you know, hey, got to do what you got to do, whether people believe you or not. And personally, Diane, I really don't care if anybody believes me or not. I know who I am. I know my truths. I know my story. I know my life. You don't know Jack. I know I don't have to explain myself to anybody, but this twit doesn't seem to understand it. She thinks she knows everything about us because she's been watching us for a year or two. No, she don't know Jack. But anyhow, no, I'm gonna be getting off this soon because it's been an hour and I've got things to deal with. And I know you guys. I know you guys who are sticking up for me and Jerry, and we appreciate it greatly. I mean, I don't understand this. Hold on a second. I know, Margaret. I know. I don't understand this. Okay, you all, for the bulk, watch the same videos that Diane can watch. But what you take away from it is a whole lot different than what Diane's taking away from it. And I've noticed that Diane takes everything from either one of our, either my channel or Jerry's channel, and twists it to make her own little fantasy and try to call it the truth. And in actuality, it's negative, which does not come from our channel. That comes from GB most likely, or she's just got such a bad life as is. She wants to take it out on somebody else. For some reason, she's obsessed with Jerry. I mean, literally obsessed with Jerry, and it's ridiculous. Yep, that message there, right alone, right there, just tells me that you have not listened whatsoever. Doctors gave her permission. She talked to the doctors. The doctor said right at that time when she was going to go visit her family that she's okay. They okayed her to go and do this traveling. They told her, yeah, you can go traveling, but keep in mind your limitations. All right. So do me a favor, Diane. Take your nose out of my ass and my wife's ass and put it up your family's ass. Because what I've seen in your videos, your family needs you more than we do. Yeah, you're right. But anyhow, I am happy to say that things around here have been going pretty good. I mean, we um, we are doing our best to make things work as is. I mean, Jan and I lately, and I know it's mostly the weather because I can tell, um, don't have the energy that we do normally. I mean, even I am getting worn because I am just I am literally I'm just I have been lately very worn out and just want to sleep all day. I am, you know, it's funny yet not funny because it's like, oh my gosh. And what's happening is I can't get to sleep. First off, that's my problem. I really have trouble getting to sleep, especially as of late. So I've been having to take, well, I take my usual night pills. They're part of my regimen. Plus, I've been taking like melatonin to help me out, as well as a CBD gummy. Those don't work. It's like my body's like, this is funny. You're throwing this stuff at us when we don't want to go to sleep. Um, then what happens is I end up trying to put myself to sleep by playing solitaire on my phone. Um, yeah, I should probably be reading instead of playing games. But yeah, I don't need anything to make me stuffy. I got enough problems with my nose. I don't need that extra stuff. But hold on a second. Steam bath is great for, unclogging my. What I used to do is I used to take a pot of water, let it get into boiling, and then turn it down so it simmers. But that vapors, sometimes what I'll do is I'll put a little lavender extract in there, and I'll just take a towel over my head and just inhale the vapors through my mouth. But then it will start to unclog my nose. So once I can start breathing through my nose, I just inhale through my nose for a little while. Um, well, I tell you, JD. When I was younger, I used to love taking bubble baths. Nowadays, it's like either A, I get somebody complaining about the smells, or B, I just don't have the time to sit in the tub with a bubble bath and enjoy. Ugh. Now I know that's not strange, yeah, but I'm gonna address one thing before I sign off. I know I said I was going to sign off at the hour mark, but it's now 6 minutes after. I know Diane has spies in my group. I know because of somebody that we thought, me and Jerry thought was a friend, ended up turning to be somebody who started their own reactionary channel, just like Diane, and it right. It's sort of like a humidifier. I normally don't give her any air because I really don't care. But I found out from some people who are still on my side used to go onto Diana's channel and try to explain things, or get other people to realize that me and Jerry are just normal everyday people who are going through a rough time. Um, I you know, at first I thought, okay, this person is kind of concerned about Jerry Ann. It seemed like that's how it was, and then all of a sudden, because Jerry Ann wasn't taking her advice, and Jerry Ann blocked her because she was getting too aggressive and too pushy, that she turned around and started making literally, trash videos. Um, that's fine, Danny. She's entitled to her opinion, but the thing is, if you're gonna bring your opinion onto my channel under a different name, and she complained about me and Jerry doing the same thing, but here she is using somebody else's name to comment on my channel, and I'm like, no, you can't, no. You're gonna call us guilty of doing it, and boom, you just made yourself guilty of the very thing that you were literally, saying that me and Jerry were doing, which we don't have the time nor desire to make up a fake name, just go onto somebody's channel and berate, either sound like we're on her side or berate her. No, no, no. No, she did put on the very first comment, um, I had to use somebody else's name, blah blah blah, Diane. And she spelt it, the way she does it on her channel, but that's not how you really spell her name, because I found out that way. But the thing is, if you're gonna sit there and tell everybody on your channel that Jerry Ann or I are guilty of making up fake names to say things on her channel or to spy on her, it's like, no. If I'm gonna spy on somebody, guess what? I'm gonna use my freaking name. You know, that and the only alias that I've ever used online, I don't use it anymore because what's the sense of trying to maintain your real name and an alias? I don't have that capacity or the time to try to split the two and this is me and that's them or him, whomever. I don't have the time for that crap. That and I'm just too honest. To be honest with you, I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to gain from lying or pretending to be somebody else. What's the what's the purpose? I'm not an international spy, so there's no need for me to hide my real identity. I'm not wanted by any organization, so why hide my name? You know, I just don't have the time for that kind of crap. I wish I could take you back to Bible college with me. Um, well, JD, let's just put it this way. I did take a year of Bible college at Ozark Christian College here in Joplin, Missouri, several years ago. It's I agree with you, JD. Jesus is not crap. I've never gotten that kind of person. Um, I know because of what's going on with me now that it seems I'm more pagan than Christian. Um, in essence, it's more of I'm learning about my ancestors, but I'm not. I don't think I could practice it. I don't think I could live that way. I mean, at least religiously. Um, I mean, I could live their lifestyle, but I don't think there's a lot about the Norse pagan religion that I just kind of go, what? But um, oh, okay, cool. But this is my thing. I don't see people for their religious beliefs. I don't see people for their skin color or their nationality or any of that stuff. I see people for what people are. And there are lots of people out there who are good-hearted, good Christian, have good standards for their living and their way of life. But then I see so many people like Diane and the women from the Gossip Bakery and all these people who were creating these reactionary, channels because of Jerry or myself, and they don't like something about us. That's fine and dandy. They showed their true character. They are not Christians, not by any standard that I know of. Because I mean, what I've read in the Bible, um, Jesus does matter. What I read in the Bible tells me that as true Christians, as true followers of Christ, we will not be gossiping about each other. We would not be doing anybody any harm. We would be trying to lift people up and get them on their feet and get them on the right track. And yes, I know from my past and whatnot, sometimes you have to go off the right track to understand what's going on in your life. Or maybe it's something that is being shown to you so you can understand the right and the wrong. And I mean, the Bible is full of different characters. Some of them did things wrong, some of them did things right. But is that Is that the name of the person that was trying to that is causing me and my wife so many problems? Um, I have gone. Yeah, I do lose my temper. I do lose my temper. Um, that's something I've had problems with all my life. Um, but I've never, even though I've lost my temper and I've complained about my wife and the whole 9 yards. You know, at least I'm dealing with it better than I used to. I mean, when I used to get mad and lose my temper, um, something in the house would get broken. And a lot of doors have been replaced in houses I've lived in because of my anger and my temper. That's something that I've had to deal with since I was definitely since my teens, early 20s. Um, I think part of it is I end up there's there's a communication issue, and I know a lot of my communication issues are my issues. They're issues that I have. Um, Sharks in my home. I don't understand what you mean. No, I'm not ignoring you, Elsa. I get lost in my own thoughts and whatnot, and um, Alicia, Ashley. Oh, sorry, Ashley. All right. Um, and I'm not ignoring you. It's just my thoughts get away from me, and I don't check my these messages. Okay. Did you ever think you are LSO bringing lie to? You don't have the time, but someone else does. I have no idea what that meant. Yeah, I'm not okay. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, Ashley, if you're confused, even if Diane's confused, if people would come to me with their confusion or their questions without being hostile, demanding, or attempting to control my life, maybe I'd pay more attention. It's the people who just want to berate me for my issues or not try to get clarification because sometimes I can't always clarify what my own thoughts are. Um, well, I do know plenty of people who care. I really do. Um, yes, yeah, I know you guys care too. It's just sometimes um, there are people who say that they care about me, but they come at me with what I perceive as either hostility or negative comments or whatnot, and that's what turns me off. My wife has never. What false accounts are you? I mean, the idea of her. No, there's no false accounts. I know all our accounts, so I don't know what you're talking about as false unless you're just. I don't know, because I know all of our accounts and none of them are false. The only accounts that I would consider false are some of the accounts that she set up for both of us. It's one account, two different cards. Um, Other than that, I don't know. I don't think she's ever done any false accounts. Um, Sheila, you're correct. No, nobody's ever walked in my shoes. Um, and yeah, I am happy with my life. This is true. I would be mad at Diane too. I think Diane is confused about Jerry's cancer. I don't see how Karma. I don't understand your comment there, but um, I don't see how anybody can be confused about Jerry cancer because she, on her own channel, has put out all the information she can without possible legal issues. You're right. I do not see what you see as me being a victim. I see me as being a loving, supporting son and husband. How can I know all the accounts? Because we sit down together and do the budget books. And if the budget books does not um, agree with what the bank is telling me, then yeah, my eyebrows would be raised and I would be questioning where is X amount of dollars when according to the bank it should be there, but it's not. Or the bank says it's not there when it should be, is what I meant to say. um, but anyhow, I need to get off this because Jerry is probably waiting for me to be done with this so we can finish up as much Christmas decorations before bed. Um, Let me just look at my phone, see if there's any new comments. Um, well, Ashley, you're correct. If I'm happy, that's all that should matter. Um, I know because of various things in the past, I wasn't happy. But finding new ground, finding more about myself, is making me happy. And being that Jerry is supportive of this, I can't make any real complaints. Um, Credit cards need to go to gym. I don't use any. Well, you know what? You're right about the MD. I am trying to get rid of the credit cards as fast as I can because I I personally don't see the sense of them. Jared tried to explain to me that if you have credit card and you have good credit, it makes it easier for purchasing like big stuff like a house or another vehicle or an RV or whatever. Um, Actually, same to you. Um, yes, lots of sickness. Um, yeah, Jerry does have a lot of sickness. I I never had a credit card until I got married because I figured if I've got money in the bank and there's enough of that money to be used to feed, clothe, and house myself, that's all I needed. I didn't need a lot of extras. It wasn't until I got married that credit cards became a necessity, and the explanation was like, okay, I don't understand it, but yes, all right. Um, yeah, I'd rather have a debit card or my debit card acts like I think it acts like a Mastercard or a Visa. But the thing is, you have to have money in the bank to use it, either way. And yeah, I would prefer to have just a debit card. And if there's no money in the bank, then we can't purchase it. Um, Peppermint oil? Yeah, I've heard about that. In fact, I think I just recently got some peppermint oil. Well, that's the thing there, 11. I understand the credit cards are good to keep your credit good if you can keep it paid off. But Problem is, I have several different credit cards that can, for some reason, I can never pay it down enough. Um, it's like my automatic payments go in there, and if not if I'm late, but the automatic payments go into it, but the charge, basically what it is, maintenance fee or whatever you want to call it, interest charge, is just about as high as the minimum amount of money I can put in there. So either way, I'm just kind of like, I can't get them paid down fast enough. And what ends up happening is we'll pay everything off with our tax return, but then by Christmas we've charged up the cards. Um, and it's not that I'm lost. It's somebody mentions something and it catches my attention and I go down that rabbit hole. It has nothing to do with lost. Just how my mind works because of my psychological issues that I will not probably will never be able to get away from because they're somehow genetic. But I have attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity. So that's why my brain just veers off. It has nothing to do with me being lost. Um, but anyhow, that's just how the card got established. I'd rather not pay interest. I mean, most of my credit cards don't have an interest fee. It's just the two or three of them that I have that have interest fees are becoming a pain in my butt. And I'm literally thinking about come the new year, whether they're paid off or not, I'm going to end them and hopefully won't have interest payments. All I have to do is just pay the card off, and then I'll be done with it. Hi, Jesse. Unfortunately, I'm about ready to get off because I've been on for 87 minutes. So, and I've got a house to finish decorating or a few more things before bed. So, I'm surprised Jerry didn't jump on here and say something like, hey, you know what time it is? But let's just say this much. Um, I can understand how some of you could be reading some of my or listening to some of my videos and get a little lost because you know my brain does not always function in a straight line, which most people can follow. My brain kind of zigzags. Um, it's almost it. I don't know if I can pin it to attention deficit disorder or anything like that from my psychological uh, profile. Um, but yeah, unless I'm focused on a particular subject or don't get triggered, is what I'm going to call it, I can usually stay on a course. But what's fun about staying on a course? You get a little bored about with courses. You enjoy your lives more when you don't let the doubts get you to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, well, you're probably right there, JD. I do put a lot of my life on YouTube. Yeah, I I I probably do put a little too much of my personal life online. Um, I grew on you. Well, thanks, JD. I'm glad I did. Hopefully, I'm not one of those painful warts or anything like that. Yes, I can joke about myself. I mean, it's easier to joke about yourself than it is to joke about others, because when you joke about yourself, you don't hurt yourself. You're talking about yourself, and if you're hurt by your own words, that's, I don't understand. But to joke about other people, no, because that could be more harmful than anything else. Yeah, JD. Wow, I haven't heard that phrase in a long time. Um, I appreciate that. I really do. A bunch of people I used to work for or with back in Yellowstone, that was a phrase we used to use because we weren't all the same skin tone, but we understood who we are in each other, and we were good friends, and that's one of the phrases we used to say. A brother from another mother. Um, JD, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to play Warcraft again. It really depends on my days ahead of me because of all the things going on. Um, let's see here. My last one. Do you know what that means? It sounds familiar, but I'm Schwartz. Um, sounds familiar, but I don't. I don't. I can't bring it up. My brain is not bringing it up. Oh, that's right. Schwarzkatze, black cat. It took me a while. My German is going downhill. Schwarze, black cat. Um, but yeah. Um, what I'm going to probably be doing sometime between the day after Christmas and the day before New Year's is I'm going to try to do a lot of. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. So if you don't understand, let me know. I'm going to be doing a lot of cleansing, a lot of meditation, a lot of praying about certain things. Um, oh, your keyboard. Okay, yeah. Well, I can understand that. But um, JD and several of you have basically kept on telling me, don't worry about anybody, any of the negative stuff, any of the reaction channels or anything like that, because they're that one they if they feel and think the way they feel and think, there's nothing I can do to change that. There's nothing I can do to change that. The only thing I can do is keep them from dragging me down a hole that I don't need to deal with. Um, so I'm gonna try to refocus everything and get back on track and try to like keep a running like schedule of this day I'm gonna do this kind of video and this day I'm gonna do that kind of video and focus more on finishing our walkthrough or read through the Nordic book I have, and maybe a few other things that I have to read. I just I can't let myself continuously get dragged down after I've struggled so hard to get out of the darkness I once lived in and continuously struggle with. Um, yeah, yeah, Sheila and Margaret, they're always supporting. Um, I just can't deal with this stuff anymore. It's annoying. So I'm, gonna try to get out of it. and not, you know, not worry about her. And there was a reason why I blocked her and others like her, because I'm just, yes, I'm going to try to. My work schedule is a little screwy Louie, so cooking videos will probably be like a Friday or Saturday night because I have those nights off and I can pre-plan and get all my ingredients together and you know and just like get back to what I was trying to do. I just have to sit down and look at my different recipe books and see what things I haven't tried to cook in front of you guys, or see if I can get the ingredients because um, the Scandinavian cookbook, it's recipes from Scandinavia, which is basically the Nordic territories. Because I don't do fish. I'm not a fish person. Chicken, cow, pork, things like that. Yeah, I might even look online for a couple decent recipes. So I am okay. I just cooking vlogs would be great. Well, I'll tell you what. The cooking vlogs when I was doing them probably got more. um, let's just put it this way, and I'm not trying to say this because I want to generate, you know, more viewers or more money, but most of my vlogs that had like a like theme, whether it was cooking, vlogging about what I read in various books, um, things that weren't just like, oh, this was my daily grind, you know, something that's less personal and more us, or not more us, more natural, more like less personal, but it has to do some of the things that I'm into, but it doesn't deal with my personal life. Um, yeah, I love to cook. I just don't always record it. Um, so it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, how do I do this compared to this, and how do I keep myself focused? And I know a lot of you may or may not like the idea of me being into like the herbal crystal type healing. Um, I don't know. I personally wouldn't call that anything of a pagan origin because I mean look at our ancestors before the modern day pharmaceutical companies came around. What did our ancestors do? They took herbs and whatnot and ground them up to make teas or salves or things of that nature. Um, yes, I need to start walking. And yeah, I need a vacation. Um, right now, vacations for me are kind of like set on the back burner. I will say this much though, and I got to remember to put it into my work calendar so they know. But in May, it's either March or May of this coming year, I am actually going on my first cruise. I have been invited. Well, my in-laws basically paid for Jerry to go on a cruise, and um, I just have to come up with like $400 or so by a certain time to pay for my part of the cruise or the part that they wanted me to pay. So I am right. God did put the herbs on the earth. Uh, Oh, writing something on a sermon for friendship. That's cool. Um, where to? The Bahamas. Um, at first, I wasn't really thinking of a cruise for the Bahamas. I'd rather take like a cruise to Norway, or the cruise that people, my aunt used to talk about. She used to go on these cruises where she would leave Seattle, Washington, go up to Alaska, and they would go into one of the bays where they can see the glacier wall, and then they would also go whale watching on their way back. So I was, I was thinking, oh yeah, cruise. Oh, that's right, they go to the Bahamas. And the last time I heard it, well, they go on. My sister in law, who is basically retired, she has a lot of medical, not severe medical like Jerry, but she's got some issues with medical. But she still goes on a cruise every year, which I think is awesome. But like I said, I'd never been to the Bahamas, and they're like, well, you can always just stay on the ship because these big gigantic cruise liners got all kinds of things to do 24/7. And yeah, I don't know. Well, I was talking about my aunt's cruise up to Alaska, not the Bahamas. But now that you put that thought in my head, Bahamas, uh, things like that. 11, it's only adulterous if you are, taking these women to your bed when you're married. No, I won't do that. When they're prancing around in front of you, how, it's kind of difficult not to notice. Um, and both my Christian side and my pagan side are like, okay, they might look nice in that bikini. I've got my wife. If I want to see a woman without a bikini, I'm married. I got no problems asking. Oops, I'm starting to talk about my private life. I'm sorry. Um, remember Jimmy Carter? Okay, I don't know what that has to do with Jimmy Carter, but yeah, he was the president when I was born, or a little bit after I was born. But um, anyhow, holy crap, 102 minutes. I gotta get off this, folks. I'm sorry. My wife is probably out there like falling asleep or something. Who knows? But yeah, before I go, last thing I'm gonna say is I know all of you out there who really want to support me and really have been supporting me. One, I am very thankful for you. I wish. Okay, Becky, I'm gonna be leaving myself soon. Uh, I know I have contact with Margaret off. Like she sent me a couple text messages through um, Facebook Messenger. I'm not that hard to find on Facebook Messenger. So if yeah, I can understand that one there, JD. But if you can try to uh, if you want to try to contact me, especially those who are supporting me through the I Messenger, or um, I don't know if there's a way that to private message me through YouTube or not, but I really appreciate and love you guys' support. I hope we can continue the support. I'm hoping, like I said, between after Christmas and before New Year's, I'm gonna try to really weed out a lot of my thoughts and get them written down and try to create coping mechanisms or some find some way to find a happy balance so I can do the right things on YouTube. Not I need to stop talking about my personal life. Um, even maybe just talk about like, oh yeah, I saw a deer across the road, or I was on my way to work and a family of deer went, running across the roadway. Um, Simple stuff like that, but not anything personal like medical person, you know, medical information or things that hopefully don't cause problems. I want to talk more about like I said, weekends or days that I know I have the next day off and I'm home. Like I might work Thursday, I'll have Friday, Saturday off. I can do a cooking video Friday and Saturday, and then the rest of the week, like Sunday morning, she does her live. I can come in here after the live and read some more out of that missing books of the Bible. Things that are positive, you know, things that are more moving forward instead of being. Maybe that's part of my problem lately. I haven't been moving forward. I've been kind of stagnated. Um, yeah, found my happy place exactly. But anyhow, I just hope I well I know that most of you will stick with me. There's just maybe a few people that might go, oh, yeah, we're not interested in this. We'll leave. Um, but I'm going to bid you guys a good night. Hopefully your week will be nice. I know next Saturday is Christmas Eve. I may or may not do a video on Christmas Eve. Depending on what's going on around the house, depends on what I do. So until next time, if I decide that I'm not going to do it Saturday, I might do it Friday night. Um, so for the 91 people who actually were on here and the 3 people who did a thumbs up, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Happy holidays. You guys enjoy. Bye.